Neil McAvoy, leader of Propel. I'm down in Carmarthenshire today. I'm here to meet Tricia and Eddie and talk through a really, really shocking case. Tricia and Eddie are facing an eviction hearing for repossession of the property on the 26th of July, and they're in this situation through no fault of their own. They've been let down by Plaid Cymru as a result of Plaid Cymru politicians not doing what they should have done or should do. These guys here are going to become homeless. I'm just going to give them a knock now, and I mean the stress that these poor people are going through. Can you imagine that you're going to be homeless possibly within a couple of weeks? It's absolutely appalling. Really, really. I don't know words, to be honest. Hi Tricia, hi Eddie. You okay?
Hello.
Did you go outside for the chat?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, okay.
Follow you.
So you moved in 2003 and had ideas to open up a cattery, a business, but you encountered problems. So what happened?
When we moved in, I became aware of a lot of noise next door, coming from next door, and we're very close to the next door property. And the noises were industrial noises. They were lorries and diggers and all kinds of generators, and it sounded like cutting up of metal, those kinds of noises, which were horrendous. I just thought at the time, they've got a project going and it will pass. It will stop eventually, but it didn't.
So it turned out that there was an industrial unit there. What did the council tell you?
Well, I was told that I should speak to the monitoring department, which was enforcement effectively.
Yeah.
So I spoke to the enforcement manager at the time and told him that I was very concerned as to what was taking place next door, because we believed it to be a farm. When we purchased and did run all the searches showed up that it was a farm.
Mm.
These noises wouldn't be coming from a farm. Some of them might in small doses, but not on the scale it was. And he just effectively said, there's nothing going on there, it's a farm. And I tried to explain to him, well, actually it isn't. There are lorries coming and going, there's all kinds of other activities going on, JCBs being used. And he just denied it. He just said, no, it isn't.
So Carmarthenshire County Council said there was no industrial activity. It was just a farm, which obviously you knew differently to that. When you did complain, there was a campaign waged against you, wasn't there?
Yes, there was. Eventually, I went to see Adam Price, who was my MP at the time, explained everything to him, and he wrote to the council. And I remember the date so well. It was in the November. And on my way back from the hospital, I noticed all the rubbish from my rubbish bags, that I always put my rubbish bags on the verge, ready for collection the following day. As I came back, the rubbish was everywhere. My bags had been cut to shreds. And I had no indication that this was going to happen. And it was clearly done maliciously. And from that moment on, there was the most horrendous campaign against us.
I think it could be called a campaign of terror, which interrupted your business plans.
It did, because the council carried out their functions to the letter that they are meant to. That's with regard to monitoring and enforcement of anything that's going on that doesn't have planning permission. Then none of this would have happened. It would have been stopped.
Yeah.
But they didn't. Instead of doing that, they just kept on and on and on, saying it wasn't happening and that I was making unsubstantiated complaints.
Yeah.
And that then almost encouraged the neighbours, if you will, to feel obliged, if you like, to continue their harassment and abuse of us.
So you're being harassed, a lot of problems, and the police got involved. Who got arrested?
Me, every time. Every time. And the arguments, as such as they were always at our gate, which meant the neighbours had to come across from their property to this right-of-way area where our gate was. So all the confrontations took place at our gate, not at their gate, at our gate. So the question to the police was, why is it always happening here? Why am I always being arrested when it's obvious where it's happening, what is happening?
So, Eddie, how did you feel at the time with all this going on?
Well, I wasn't here initially. I was still in Sussex.
Yeah.
Continuing to earn a living to maintain the property and build the business that we were going to have.
Yeah. But you had to come back, didn't you, because of what was going on?
Back, yes.
Yeah.
Eventually, because of this attacking on Tricia and what was generally happening.
So you're in a situation where you buy a property, you have an idea of a business, those plans are made impossible really by what is going on next door. The council say there's not going on. The police in Carmarthenshire arrest you 6 times. Something which chimes with me is that you had to record and film to protect yourself.
I did,
Yeah.
because I was being arrested on, most people would say hearsay. It was she said, he said. And I said, but where is the evidence? We don't have to have evidence, I was told. If they say that you are doing something, we have the right to come and arrest you, which I found bizarre, to be perfectly honest with you. But it didn't work the other way round.
Yeah. So this went on from 2003 until
2008 or 9 it went on.
And then you had a full apology off the David Powers police, didn't you?
Yes, I did.
Yeah.
I had a few meetings with him and the former chief constable.
Yeah.
And I took all my evidence with me. He saw everything.
Yeah.
So his judgment, his apology, was based upon the evidence that he'd seen.
Yeah. Also, there was an ombudsman's complaint, not the current ombudsman, the former ombudsman. And what did the ombudsman find?
The ombudsman found Carmarthen Council to be very lacking. It was a damning report, actually.
Yeah.
He referenced 2 or 3 lies, deliberate lies that were told. And when we talk about lies, these were very damaging lies to me and our plight, actually.
So that was an official ombudsman's report in Wales in your favour, and you were promised a review?
Well, the leader of the council, once the council became Plaid-led, Adam, who was now my MS, spoke to the leader, Councillor Dole, and a review of my case was promised.
Okay, so you were promised a review. Have you ever had that full review?
No.
To your knowledge?
No, we haven't.
Okay, so what is the reason given?
There has been no reason given, actually, that's valid. We sent off terms of reference for the review, actually, on 3 separate occasions. Adam formulated them, along with my counsellor. They were sent off. The only reason they're giving so far is that Zurich, who are the council's insurers, were threatening to withdraw all legal cover from the entire council if a review was held of my case.
So you're saying that the council say they won't hold the review now because Zurich, the council's insurer, says that they may withdraw all cover if they look into your claim of roughly 80 or £100,000 or so, which is a drop in the ocean for a council budget. But you contacted Zurich, didn't you?
I've contacted Zurich on a few occasions, and I've got emails from Zurich telling me that they've never said any such thing. They have never told the council they can't hold a review of my case. They've never told the council that they can't pay us an ex gratia payment.
Yeah, okay. So you're in a situation now where you face a hearing for repossession of your property on the 26th of July, and you have Plaid Cymru politicians effectively sitting on their hands. It seems to me as if they're just waiting for you to get evicted so they can try and forget all about it. How does that make you feel?
Terrible. It's been so emotional, so hurtful to think that Plaid have known me for 17 years. I've been up and down to their office when Adam was my MP, then it became Roderick Glynn was my assembly member, and then Adam again, now my MS, and they know my case inside out. Yeah. They know how badly we've been treated. And then, Adam has actually written that this is the worst case of nonfeasance, the neglect of a public body to carry out its basic duties that he has come across in all his years in public life. I think those are really strong words. Yeah.
But ultimately, no action.
No, I'm just told they can't do anything.
And also, the council had been instructed not to communicate with you on this matter?
Yes, a letter, or they called it a paper, was put before the executive board in order to excommunicate me from all contact with the council.
So there was a meeting. How much notice were you given of the meeting? And were you able to see sight of the papers presented to that meeting?
A day.
So you were given a day. Were you given the papers that were going to go to the meeting?
No.
No papers?
No.
A day's notice? Mm-hmm. And they decided to stop communicating with you?
Yeah.
So Eddie, you're 85, Patricia, you're 77, and you face the ordeal of a hearing on the 26th of July for repossession of your property. How does that make you feel?
Well, I don't know what to do now. I will have to see the outcome of the hearing on the 26th. Mm-hmm. Then hopefully it will go to a full hearing, because I would like the court to hear about the review, because Adam wrote to my lenders and told them that there was going to be a review that might have saved our home. Mm-hmm. And now that has been reneged on, that promise. Yeah. So I would like to bring that up in court, because I think it's hugely important, because somebody is lying. If Zurich are not being honest, then I have been misled. If the council are lying, then that's very serious, because that has cost us everything. Yeah. The reason we're in this position is because we have a loan of £80,000, which had to be paid back within a certain length of time. And because we couldn't have the cattery, because we couldn't convert the barn, because Eddie had to give up his income in Sussex, that was never going to happen. We were never going to be able to pay it back. And it all stems from officers of the council not carrying out their functions, as Adam said. It's the worst case of nonfeasance, etc., the neglect of a public body. Now, had they carried out their job description, this would never have happened. And had they done so from the very beginning, in all probability, we wouldn't even be living here, because the person that suffered from it first of all would still be here. He wouldn't have left. He left here because of what was taking place, because the council weren't carrying out their job properly, because they were allowing all of this to carry on, which was impacting upon this property severely. Yeah. We had no quality of life for years and years and years.
Yeah. Before you bought the property, you should have been told what was going on, shouldn't you?
Absolutely. It should have shown up in our searches.
It didn't.
They denied us that right. They've denied us all of our human rights. We've never had any rights here. Yeah.
Okay, Patricia, Eddie. What I will pledge is Propel's full support to try and get some kind of justice. Maybe see if there's a legal case to take action against Carmarthenshire County Council, so that you guys can at least get some fair play. Diolch yn fawr. Thank you very much.
Thank you.